We are live. Welcome to the Maple Minds podcast. My name is Christi. That's Rob and Polly. And we are three people from BC who like to yap about what's in the news and what's happening in politics, not only in BC, but in Canada and internationally. We don't have any time to spare. We're going to jump right into it. We're starting with Pierre and his comment that leadership in the RCMP is despicable for taking orders from the Liberal government. RCMP's reaction is, hey, why don't you meet me in person and say that to my face? I don't answer to any political side. Rob, what are your thoughts?
Where do you start? Is there a playbook that Pierre has that he's borrowed from other people where he's got to attack the news? He's got to attack our own RCMP. It's getting ridiculous. I mean, just take the microphone away from this guy. Someone's got to do something.
You know what's frustrating is that somebody brought to my attention the other day. Honestly, I had forgotten about it. They said, Trudeau made it legal to lie in the press. And I'm like, what? Yeah, in 2019. And I'm like, what? And I looked into it, and Trudeau didn't do that, but the Supreme Court did. The Supreme Court did rule that it's your freedom of expression right. And look where it's getting us. I'm just saying, here's my take on it. His goal here is to get everybody talking about the scandal again, talking about SNC again. And even the RCMP leader who had addressed him even said, we've talked about this a million times. But Pierre knows if you get people talking about it again, you think corruption, right? Because there wasn't a lot of accountability. A lot of comments too say, don't you believe Jody? I do believe Jody. Jody never said what that guy did was illegal. Jody said what that guy did was inappropriate. I completely agree with Jody. I believe what Jody said. I do wish that they had at least, I don't know if a trial was necessary. I just look at other scandals that have happened. There was a criminal trial for Senate expenses trial under the Harper government, and that was a trial. Even though it's frustrating that there was still no accountability, there was like the illusion of we're going to try. I think that if there was a better attempt of looking like we would try, we wouldn't have this. But that's not to say that I think that there was a cover up, because I don't. And I think that this is just a good opportunity for Pierre to plant the seeds of corruption in everybody's mind and get it talked about again. And I think he was successful, fortunately.
I think that's the problem. Is I don't think there was as much transparency and as much information that was given to Canadians over the whole situation. I don't think there was enough for a closure in a way. And I think that's a huge problem. It really is, because it's left this door open for this fear-mongering, you know what? Sorry.
Fear-mongering, MAGA style bullshit.
I don't even want to say it. I think there's some serious issues. And the fact that he's bringing it up again, I don't know, he's just opening up old wounds. And he's just trying to create as much distrust in the government and RCMP as he possibly can. It's ridiculous.
Yep. While he's exaggerating, while he's applying hyperbole to describing how our cities are. Listen, we have problems in our cities. Like, have you been downtown yet lately? Have you been to the end of Granville lately? Our downtowns are in need of help. That's municipal, though. When I look at our downtown, I look at Ken Sim. But I do agree that there is problems that we need to address. But when you're being hyperbolic about it, when you're saying that they're war zones, they're not war zones. I think that's insulting to every single person, every single Canadian citizen who came here from an actual war country. I think it's insulting to them that to insist of what's happening in Canada is a war zone, but it echoes what his buddy is doing down in the States.
Well, I mean, yeah, whenever I hear war zone now, all I think of is the dancing frog. I mean,
think of dancing frogs too.
That's the only war zone I can think of. We do have serious issues in Canada in a lot of the cities where, homelessness. But part of the issue with Pierre when he starts talking garbage is he doesn't actually talk about the real issues. I think one of the biggest issues is the funding for mental health. I think as soon as that went by the wayside, as soon as we started not funding mental health, having proper facilities and proper nurses and doctors and people taking care of the issues with the severe mental health, they're all on the streets now. And where are they going to go? What are they going to do? We've given up. And I think if anyone really wants to look at that, that's what it is. It's not this rampant crime, because, I mean, obviously they are committing crimes. We know that, because they're going to survive. So of course they're going to be there's going to be a lot of theft. There's going to be drug use. There's going to be also other petty crimes and things like that. But we need to solve the problem. We need more resources for mental health. We need more places for people to go and stay. That's where it starts.
I agree with you. And I think that when we say we need to solve the problem, he's saying that too. He's saying that we need to solve the problem by building more jails and just locking up everybody who isn't going to follow the rules instead of investing that money into resources to get people to develop at a rate that they're not going to need to be jailed or to be supported in a way. If you address poverty, you address crime, not all of it, but not all crime is committed just because people are evil. I don't believe in that. I do believe that there's just some rotten people that are going to do it anyways. But I also believe that the crime that is committed out of necessity for survival is preventable.
Yeah, I think there
I'm
honestly,
saying it's preventable.
yeah, there definitely needs to be like some reform in the judicial system. I think there needs to be harsher laws, stricter sentencing for certain aspects of this world. At the same time as Pierre Poilievre, when just the other day was talking about the 3-strike rule. So
Yes.
someone with mental health and someone who's seen it firsthand, where you've got people that they're constantly stealing. It's petty theft. I mean, it's a nuisance and it's awful. At the same time as they're just trying to survive, and whether or not they're stealing to feed themselves or stealing to get more money, to get more drugs or whatever it is, those people are going to get arrested 3 times. It could be 3 times in 1 week, potentially. And what, we're going to lock them up in jail because they have mental health issues, where they've got serious issues that they're not criminal as
The three
much as they.
strike also ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. This
Yeah.
was a political look at me. This was never ever intended. This was part of the game. And this is what frustrates me about politics is that there are some people who are more interested in playing the game than actually doing their job, which is to provide support for Canadians. They don't care about fixing anything or solving anything. They care about putting on the political show and playing the game. Yeah, I could go on about the RCMP thing, but we have to move on because we have a lot of topics. But I would like to, oh, sorry, we're not going to move on yet. I can't help myself. Pierre
Yeah.
said, and a lot of conservatives are saying that, okay, Carney came out with some stricter rules, and they're like, well, he copied me, he copied me. If you really cared about the rules being implemented, does it matter whose idea it is? Sure, you can whine about it. You can say, like, hey, I would like some credit for that. But wouldn't you genuinely be happy that what you said you wanted is being put in place?
I think that's the biggest issue right now in our politics, especially with Polyev. Anything that's positive that we're doing or Carney's doing or the Liberal government's doing, and if it's anything that he's even mentioned that they should be doing, now all of a sudden we're copying him or they're copying him or all. Get over yourself, man. Who cares? Just say, hey, this is a great step forward for our country. I'm super
Yes,
excited. I'm glad you took my ideas, even
totally.
if they weren't his
Take credit.
ideas,
Yeah,
those have been floated around for years. I mean, everyone's been wanting certain, it's not his ideas. Even if he wants to say they're all his ideas, that's great. But at least be excited about the fact that something's being done. Like,
yeah.
Mhm.
let's
Because
get behind it
otherwise, you
because,
look like you're just saying it just to play the game.
well,
Yeah,
that's the worst part. But we all know that's what he's doing. Honestly, that is the sign of the weakest leader you could ever imagine. Someone that will
100%.
sit there and whine about, well, that was my idea. Get over yourself. Be excited. We're doing it. It's happening. Get behind it. Say, yeah. And chances are he's going to vote against it because it's going to say something that's not exactly
Could
the
you
wording I
imagine?
would have used. Oh, but no, but how many times has he voted against
Yeah,
things that are beneficial for all Canadians? But he just voted
totally.
against it because paragraph C said this, and I don't really agree with that paragraph statement. So we're going to say
Yeah,
no.
yeah. It's
No.
all just about being opposition. And I understand that that's his job. But I think in an ideal country, your opposition is just challenging to find the best idea, not simply challenging so that your opponent doesn't succeed. And I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, I want a conservative leader that's going to come out and just be authentic, not be slimy and not spread misinformation. Just be an actual leader. I would get behind that. I would
Yeah,
totally get behind that.
I would
If
too.
someone just
Even
came
though I
out and
don't,
said, hey, I agree with this. Thank you for doing this. I think maybe we need to go a little further, or I think we need to do these things. Come up with some original ideas
we're
and
so naive,
but get
buddy. We're
behind it.
so naive. We're so naive to think that people, but I think the problem is that the people that we vote for in place, like we're only voting out of, I think our pool of candidates is shallow. I think that the people who want the power usually aren't the people you want to have the power, and that's why we're in this situation. But speaking of that, let's slide over the Rockies to talk about Danielle Smith briefly before we go down to the States. The report that looked into the transactions with Alberta Health Services and a private company to procure $70 million of children's medicine. Remember that? It was in 2022, COVID. His shelves are empty of the Tylenol. So Danielle Smith comes out and she's like, look at me, I'm a hero. I just made this deal with Turkey and I'm going to get some Tylenol from Turkey. I made a video about it in 2022 that I don't want to go that far back to look for, but I had talked about how the problem with what they bought was the dosages weren't the same. They have different laws in Turkey that they do in Canada. When you're giving your kid two Tylenol that you're used to giving to Canadian Tylenol, you're giving a different amount of medicine. She tried to dump it into other provinces before it expired and she lost all this money. And the other provinces went, that doesn't meet our rules. We can't sell that in our province. She stuck with this stuff. So that report of buying it is very interesting. Everybody should check out the breakdown either on X or on TikTok. I think probably on YouTube. I think the breakdown does the best job of covering this, has been covering it for a long time, even got a cease and desist from Sam Raich, who is the guy that made all the money from the Turkish Tylenol with the company and stuff. Very good source to find out. But that judgment came out today. And I think that a lot of people will be asking for a public inquiry into Danielle Smith's actions because this is not what this investigation was. My rant is over. What do you think, Rob?
The funny thing is, I think the original idea and plan came out of compassion and wanting to do something good. But no, I'm just saying, just follow me with this.
Okay.
I always say the cover up is worse than the crime. I think that's the case here, is that cover up that I didn't do anything or it did nothing, like nothing to see here. I think that's worse than anything else. If someone just said, hey, look, I thought I was doing something good. I wanted to do this for whatever. And you know what? I made a mistake. I didn't realize that, whatever. I think sometimes you can get behind someone who does that in a way.
I
But
agree.
I don't think you can get behind anyone who covers things up. I mean, that's 100% sketchy person you cannot trust and should not be in power.
So why do you believe if they're going through so much effort to cover up, why do you believe that their intentions were genuine to start with
Well,
empathy? Because I don't. I think it's a scam from the first day. I don't
yeah,
think, I'm not saying on the first day it was a scam because when she did that, I honestly believed that she did that just for a political move, just to say, oh, Justin Trudeau can't keep the shelves full, so I'll fill the shelves. That's why I thought she was doing it. And now I don't. Now I think she was doing it to help her buddy make a whole bunch of money because apparently that guy's company didn't have the proper licensing. There's a whole bunch of shady shit that happened that came out. I'm sorry, Polly. I know you asked me not to swear so much. I'll try better in the second half.
I don't even notice you swearing anymore. It just
I
goes like
know
this.
it's my language. It's like, yeah, Christy's fluent in English and cursing. Anyway, I think her license plate reveal, her great license plate reveal yesterday is not going to be nearly enough to distract from this. Like I said, the report just came out today. People are starting to dissect it and post things online. I should have looked at more. The thing that I saw was lack of licensing, but there's a lot of people posting about it. There's going to be a lot of stuff while she has all the teachers on strike and she's trying to BS about that. I hope this could be the end of all of the support that we see for this woman.
Yeah, I think there's still lines drawn. I think there's obviously a large group of Albertans that will follow her into the fire. It really
Do
doesn't
you
matter.
even
They're
know how
gonna,
many people? Do you even know how many people in BC support her?
yeah,
Love
oh
her?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
But I mean, that's the problem right now. We polarized our government. We polarized our political system where if you're a conservative, you now absolutely hate the liberals. I hate the liberals. The liberals are the worst. They're the devil, and it doesn't really matter what the conservative government does or the conservative leaders do. They're going to follow into the fire. That's just what it is. I'm kind of done with these like political that it's too much. I think
it
we need
is.
to get back to normalcy where people are actually decent human beings. And all we're doing in government is fighting for the rights of the people within Canada and trying to do the best that we can to make sure that Canadians live a wonderful, beautiful, incredible life. And that's not the case right now. And we've divided the country, and there are clear lines in there. The only positive in all of this is those Alberta license plates actually look pretty nice. Good job on them. Look, they do. They're nice license plates.
Rob
Good
in with
job.
all the sunshine and rainbows and positivity.
There's got to be some positives in there.
You know what? You do have to celebrate some stuff. You do have to celebrate what is positive, because if you don't, all of the negative stuff that is happening, not just in Canada, but around the world, it's too much. It's too much. If you're somebody who pays attention to the news, it is too much if you don't celebrate the positive things. But I want to take what you said about how we've gotten to this place where conservatives simply just say, liberals are evil and that's it, and drawn the line. I want to take that and now talk about the message from the Republicans to say that anybody who's going to be showing up at these No Kings protests tomorrow in the United States, which are rumored to be some of the biggest protests like in history of that country. As soon as the Republicans started speaking against it, saying, oh, you're only going to find Antifa types there and Hamas supporters, and only evil people are going to be at these protests and they want violence and stuff, it was reported that the signups for this protest like doubled. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
enormous.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't see that the signups doubled. As soon as they started going there and saying that, oh, this is the We Hate America rally, as soon as they started saying stuff like that, I'm like, they're just going to rile up more people to go. They really are. Yeah. Not to segue into anything else, but I mean, the Republican Party is a disaster. And the fact that they're so afraid of what's happening right now, they're blasting these protests. They're blasting peaceful protests that are all happening everywhere across the country. But yet you have a group of young Republicans talking about people, talking about the racist comments. It's an absolute insanity. And I read those comments and I'm like, this is horrible. And you have the vice president of the country saying, they're just young men. Young men do dumb things. They shouldn't ruin their lives over it. What?
He said they were kids. He said they were kids. There were people as old as 40 years old in that chat. And he kept saying that they were kids.
18 to 40.
I don't care how old they are. If you want to say, well, all kids do dumb stuff, then acknowledge that this language is not dumb stuff. This language, and I apologize for using ableist language. I'm repeating what the vice president had said. You can say what you think the motives are, even if you're wrong, in my opinion, but you still have to call out how harmful that language is. And he failed to. He just focused on the, just kids. Remember, when you're a kid, you did things that, you wouldn't do as an adult, about adults. And he didn't talk about how harmful that language is. And that language, to be 100% clear, is 100% harmful.
Oh, it's okay. They're just young men. They're going to talk about and racism and, what?
No.
I
that's
honestly,
not normal.
That is literally one of the worst things I've heard in the longest time. It's a new low of lows. Honestly, I think it is an absolute new low of lows that he can go on there with his platform and be able to say that. Now, reverse it. If this was a young Democrats group, could you imagine? They would be going to jail. They would be locked up. They would be shamed.
There was a whole
what would have happened
campaign on social media to make sure that anybody who even just quoted Charlie Kirk, who wasn't crying and mourning and just saying, how Antifa was bad for doing this, anybody who said, yeah, this guy said this, hey, that person needs to lose their job. But these guys that are 18 to 40, those guys can talk about assaulting a woman in the worst possible way and talk about one of the worst assaults against other humans in human history as if it's a positive thing. That's totally fine. Kids will be kids. Come on. When you don't say that stuff is harmful, you are encouraging that stuff, which is his point. He wants to encourage it. That's why everybody should go to these No Kings protests, because there needs to be a message that, hey, we're not okay with this Nazi shit. And I just swore again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part, is the fact that what he said is going to encourage that behavior.
Yes.
It's allowing that behavior to be okay, because they're just young men. They're just young men. It's going to happen. Oh, just like Epstein. They're just men, they like 16-year-old girl, that's just what they do. Donald Trump just likes the young
Yeah.
girls. It is what it is. Move on, everybody.
Meanwhile, look out for those drag queens. Look out for those teachers. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Uh,
I think that the texts were a horrible, very loud indication of the direction that country's going. And it's not that I'm surprised. We've seen this coming for a long time. I think that they're getting louder and bolder. And I think that the midterms, I think a lot of Americans are excited about the midterms and the opportunity to turn it around. I think they're naive. I hope I'm wrong. I've never hoped so hard to be wrong. I think they're naive to think that they're going to
you think
happen.
there are going to be midterms?
No,
I don't know if there are going to be
I
midterms.
don't think there will be.
What's going to
I
happen?
seriously hope I'm wrong. I don't think they're getting another election. Like, again, hope I'm wrong. But the No Kings protest, you can see how concerned they are about it. I think they have the National Guard going out to Austin, Texas. There's another place too that's already announced that they're going to have the National Guard at these protests. The message from people who are encouraging the protests are that it is likely that you're going to see an agitator in your protest. It's likely that you're going to see somebody trying to rile everybody up. And in these situations, like I remember going to the drag queen story time counter protest at the Coquitlam Library. I did a video after when I was leaving on the SkyTrain home. I was so full of adrenaline. I was so full of adrenaline and emotion and energy to up to here. And when you're in that environment and you have that, it's easy for your fire to get lit. So the message from the people who are supporting the protests are saying, don't let that happen. If you're feeling yourself get enraged, go take a time out. If you see an agitator in the crowd who's trying to get everybody riled up, everybody just sit down. Everybody's trying to get violent, everybody else just sit down and identify them, because everybody believes how much they want to use this as an excuse to engage in martial law.
Yeah, honestly, this is going to be one of the wildest things to sit back and watch, because I personally feel there's going to be agitators on both sides. They're going to be the far
Yeah.
left and the far right, and they're going to go in there. You got the far right that are going to go in there pretending they're left, and they're going to try and stir stuff up just to show. And you're still going to obviously have the far left that are going to want to rile things up and agitate.
I think there's a big portion of the far left who are not patient with a peaceful protest solution. They're like, you know what? This has gone too far as it is. It's time to put some boots on some necks. I think that those types of people, because they're so passionate about it, are likely to ignite fires too. But the point of the people supporting the protest is keep it calm. Don't give them a reason.
Yeah, that is key. Because you think about it, you have a lot of people that are disenchanted with everything that's happened. I could only imagine. I mean, I feel lucky to be Canadian, because if I was American right now and I saw everything that's happening, you can have the biggest protests in the world. Like, there could be tens of millions of people like protesting on Saturday, but it's not going to make a difference in my mind. Like, I feel like we're past that. So, and that's why when you look at far left people, they're probably extreme. And I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle, and I'm already
Yeah.
frustrated for them.
Yeah.
But if you have someone on a far left who's like, nothing's ever going to change, this is pointless, we need to really make a real statement, we need to do whatever. That's the problem, is there's going to
Yeah.
be so many people. I hope it's peaceful. I hope there's tens of millions of people show up. I hope the whole world watches and sees exactly what's happening there. And there's a little bit of egg on the Republicans' face.
I don't
My
think
only concern
I
is
don't
what's
think
going
that
to
they
happen
react to
after.
egg on their face. Honestly, I
No,
don't think that they give a single
no.
crap about embarrassment or egg on. They don't. They just keep it plowing through no matter what. I think that the desired result here is to get more people to quit supporting them, to send them a loud message that no, this is not what Americans want. While he keeps talking about, yep, this is what Americans want. And while his cheerleaders keep trying to convince the world this is what we voted for, I think the more people that show up to this send a whole big message of no, this is not what we voted for. We do not want to give this guy plenary power. We don't want a king. We want him to abide by courts and Congress, which he isn't doing right now. That's what I think it's about. And to get the calls and to turn more politicians around. I hate to say this, man, Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? She looks like somebody who is actually taking calls from her constituents. And she is, you can argue why she's doing it, but if everybody who has voted for the people who are supporting Trump, if everybody who voted them in starts blasting these guys, hey, I voted for you and you're representing something that I didn't vote for, you need to change your mind. If they get enough of that pressure, their job's on the line from the voters. You have a chance. And I'm not suggesting that these people are going to morally change their mind. I wish that was the case. I wish that they would look at this situation and go, you know what, we have gone too far. We're breaking human rights. Other human beings don't deserve what we're doing. And maybe I'll change my mind. I don't think that's likely to happen. But I think if they think it's likely that they'll lose their job, I think maybe that hopefully they'll change their mind.
I personally think they're going to lose their job no matter what. I think they're not going to change, and they're going to stick by Trump because at the end of the day, that's their ticket. Because if they go against him, they're done. They're done. It doesn't matter. I think they're hoping that there's never another election and they're going to be in power forever. And that's just the way it is.
They're acting like it. Like they're
Yeah,
acting like there's no
well,
repercussions.
sort of.
Somebody left a comment on Caroline Levitt's post today because she's outright lying, saying Democrats are all just these evil people. It's not even about an organized group called Antifa. Now they're at the point where any Democrat is Antifa, is pro Hamas, they're terrorists. You know what I mean? She already put that message out, and somebody commented, you're the youngest of this group. You're the one who's actually going to have to live with this down the road. Trump's not going to be around. Even Steve Bannon won't be around for the long run, but she will because she's young. I hope we get to that. I hope we get to an accountability of what they're doing. I hope that we convince more people that accountability is coming so that they stop supporting it, because the less support they have, the smaller chance they have of succeeding.
Yeah, I think it's interesting though, because they're concerned with this rally and like the misinformation and the garbage that they're spewing. It leads you to feel like they're worried, and everyone, that's what they talk about. Oh, they're worried. They're worried. I go, are they really worried, or are they just playing their game again, throwing that misinformation out there, just trying to rally their own side? I don't, it's interesting because if they were worried, then maybe there is some cracks in there. Maybe there is some ways around this. I just don't feel like they are really worried.
I never questioned it until, because I'm one of the people that say they're worried. I see them and their strong message against this protest. And I got the feeling genuinely that they were worried, but there could be other motives for those messages. And those other motives could be to put a certain image in people's minds ahead of the protests. And then no matter how peaceful they are, doesn't matter if every single person doesn't lift their arms from their sides. It doesn't matter. The picture has already been painted, so they can release the National Guards, they can release the military, and then say to the American people, yeah, you know what? We tried to stop it before. We tried to warn you guys who was going to show up. We had to deal with those guys.
The other portion is, are they sending a message out to some of their extremist people, telling them, look at all these people, they're going to march and it's a hate America rally. So when they're saying it's a hate America rally, those Americans are going to be like, these turncoats, these horrible people who don't like America. Who knows? Is it riling them up to then go to these protests to be counter protesters or agitators? Or I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I'd be interested to see the protests in Ohio, to see if, because I know that there is a very proud Nazi movement in Ohio. They have done a few demonstrations where they proudly fly swastikas, they proudly salute. They're all in masks, of course, because if you can be proud of all the other stuff, of course you're going to hide who you are.
Oh, I wish it was COVID again, just to see if they would wear the mask.
Oh, dude, be careful what you wish for. Because arguably COVID was the turning point of, like, I don't believe that all of this big, harder, more bolder push from the far right started during COVID. I think it started way before COVID. I believe that COVID opened a big door for them to really pour some accelerant on it.
Definitely polarized throughout there, but no, it was more of a joke rather than those guys that were probably anti-mask and now they're definitely pro-mask.
What worries me is how the Democrats, in my opinion, and from what I'm seeing, are doing nothing. And do they know something? Like, why are
I
they
know,
so
because it
worried?
feels
Why are they
like,
so
are you
afraid?
serious? This is your fight. This is how you
Yeah,
fight back. Like it feels
yeah,
weak, like very
it's
weak.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe they know, maybe they're afraid that there's going to be consequences for them in the future.
I don't know. Yeah, it's possible. Well, because look, he's indicting all his enemies. John Bolton got one yesterday, not from Virginia, from the insurance lawyer who is now in charge of indicting his. Anyways, it was from Maryland.
So how does that?
But
I love the narrative. John Bolton, oh, he's an awful person. What a you look at the guy, he just looks like like a librarian or some like ninth
like a
grade
cardigan guy.
science teacher that's showing up in the tweed jacket and talking in the monotone voice to everybody, like who goes home and has his TV dinner and watches the news.
Mr.
Yeah,
Rogers type.
oh man.
But
Like,
you know what?
yeah.
Let me tell you something interesting. What happened, it wasn't immediately when it was announced either. But at the same time, later after it was announced that he was indicted, there were a few MAGA cheerleaders that are very strong on X that tweeted at the exact same time, the exact same tweet of, oh, Comey indicted, Letitia James indicted, John Bolton indicted, who's next? Exact same tweet at the exact same time. Like they're both acting from the same playbook. I'm not just saying it, I'm just suggesting it. But when they say who's next, I'll tell you who I think is next. I think that Democratic donors are next because they talked about it. They talked about using the IRS to look up who is donating to Democratic political parties. That's who they're going after next. They're going to silence every single person who presents Americans with an alternative to what they are offering, and then you're just stuck with just Trump shit. Sorry.
Yeah, we just have to wait for another Trump senile moment where he'll post something on social media that was meant to be a private text to Pam Bondi. And once we see that, then we'll know who's next. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's how we
Yeah.
found out
And it's
about the other one.
ridiculous. That's not even like a blip in the new, like back in the day, if that happened like 10 years ago, if the president of the United States accidentally did that about that, that would be huge. But in the time where there's so much huge getting thrown at you every minute of the day, nothing's huge. That's intentional.
Do you know what the
It is.
funniest part is? Here, honestly, if everyone takes a step back and just analyzes what happened with Watergate and what a big scandal Watergate was on the overall in the overall scheme of the world, where would Watergate fall now? Like, where would that even fall?
Yeah.
That would just be on the news for one night and then be gone the next.
Yeah. It would be in the almost nothing burger category. And I'd like to say something about Watergate in case Pam Bondi ever watches this. Nixon never went to jail, but his attorney general did. Just saying.
Yeah, nobody's
Just saying.
nobody's
I hope
paying
they
for
sue
that
him one
fine.
day. I really do.
It, yeah, yeah. If there's ever an election, if there actually will be an election and things change, then definitely people will start getting held accountable. And then the Republicans will start crying, "Oh, look, you're just coming after us now because we came after some of you,
Yeah.
but you guys were the." I
I
should just
think
see it now.
if I'm wrong, which I really hope I am, and they do get to midterms, I do believe that they see a turnaround. I don't believe that he gets a majority, except for all the gerrymandering all of the red states are doing, and not enough blue states are doing it. And I don't understand why. When we talk about a weak democratic response, this is part of it. It's not just what the leaders are saying when they're addressing people. It's not just Nancy Pelosi telling one person to shut up. It's about Gavin Newsom said, okay, Texas, if you're going to do it, I'm going to do it too. Why aren't the other blue states reacting in a way that, because they can do the same thing? I don't
Well,
understand why
the
they
thing
aren't.
though is, well, here's the thing though, is gerrymandering is only supposed to be done on a specific time. And Texas decided, obviously, through the courts and all these things, that they ended up doing it early. But gerrymandering, like if everyone just started doing it, it'd probably be a little out of control. I think there has to sort of be a stop. But the interesting part is, over the last 10 years, who's done the majority of gerrymandering?
I don't know.
Republicans. Republicans,
Oh,
the last 10 years, because they started saying, well, the Democrats have done it. I looked into it. And no, the
oh,
Republicans over the
impeachment.
last 10 years have done the majority of gerrymandering in the United States in the last 10
Interesting.
years. It's changed a lot of the elections.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I wonder if we would be in this position had they not. Because, like I said,
Oh,
I don't believe that this is just, I don't think that this just started in January of this year. Well, we know it was before that. I think it was even before his first term. I think way before 2016, I
oh
think.
no.
And I
Oh
also
yeah,
think
yeah.
it was discussed on the Epstein Island, and that's maybe they're covering that up too, but that's just my own little conspiracy.
I think it's been part of their playbook for the Republicans because they've sort of seen the growing rise of Democrat. They got their finger on the pulse. I mean, they got a lot of pretty brilliant strategists that are looking at these things and trying to figure out ways. And a lot of people doing some math, trying to figure out how many different seats that they could win or
Yeah,
change or flip just by moving the boundaries from here to here.
right.
And they've done it. It was probably I think it was in the summer that I looked it up, so I don't remember all the numbers off the top of my head, but anyone can go look it up, and you can actually look up all the states that have gerrymandered within the last 10 years and how many seats have been affected by that gerrymandering. I think it was something around 85% don't,
Yeah,
85% in favor of
with an
Republicans.
asterisk.
Yeah, with an asterisk, maybe it was only 80, maybe it's 75. I'm just saying
It was a big
it's
number.
benefited them though. It's benefited them. 100% has. I don't know if it's Trump or any of them. It's just the Republican Party. You try to do what you can to stay in power.
Yeah.
That is what it is. I don't fault them for doing it because at the end of the day, they're doing what they think that they need to do to stay in power and stay relevant. And you know what? Good on them for doing it. The Democrats, at the end of the day, you let it slip. That's what happens. Now we're here.
I so I
We're
wonder
there.
if I think sometimes when I listen to conservatives, I think there's two different kinds of conservatives in Canada. I think you've got your typical conservative who believes in conservative policies, and then I think you've got your maple MAGA. And I don't believe that they're the same conservative.
No, I
They
can
both
tell
say
you
the
they're
same
not.
guy, but I think that they're different. And I think that the more MAGA-ish Poilievre gets, I think the more that Canadian conservatives face the risk of splitting their party. Do you believe that that's possible with Republicans too? Do you think all Republicans are MAGA, or do you believe that there's traditional Republicans who just believe in conservative policy that aren't MAGA?
Oh, 100%. We know there
Yeah.
are. Some of them have spoken out. You can actually see it. The problem is the leaders that are in place right now are all MAGA. And some of them might cringe at what's happening. They're still going to show that face of being 100% MAGA. They're going to show up and be like, nope, oh, hey, this is good. This is what we should be doing. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Spread the misinformation and probably go home and sit there and go, what is happening?
I hope.
You
I
know,
hope. Do you ever
well,
watch?
no, but I think it's worse. I think that's
Yes.
worse in some weird way. I think anyone that knows explicitly that what's happening is awful and horrific and should never happen, but still stand by it, regardless of their own personal feeling, but they stand by it and they allow it to happen. I think some of those people are the worst human beings
I
because at the
agree.
end of the day, if you're completely blinded and you're super MAGA and you just don't care and that's who you are, because everyone sees that in the US now too. It's become okay to be racist. It's become
Yeah.
okay to be homophobic. It's okay. It's
And it
okay to be
shouldn't be
this way.
okay. And
But
I remember when Aziz Ansari, do you remember that comedian, Aziz Ansari?
oh
He
yeah, of
he
course.
opened Saturday Night Live the day after Trump won the election the first time. His whole bit was about how Trump was opening the door and letting everybody out of the closet from, oh, I had to hide being racist before. I had to pretend I wasn't racist before. And now I can be as loud as I want to. And that was
Yeah.
back then. And it wasn't nearly as loud then as it is now. It's bold now.
Especially when you look at those different platforms, like if you're on X and you just see some of the stuff that's being blasted on there,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's taken a whole new level. It
Yep.
really has. And you sit there and go, it's always been there. It's always been that underlying undercurrent, not really out or anything. But now it's the floodgates are open. And I think the hardest part is you've got a lot of young people that are being influenced by that now,
Yes.
where they
Yeah.
think it's okay. Whereas before, when it was pushed underground, those young people knew it was bad. They knew they had to either realize it's bad and not engage in it
Yeah.
and be like, I'm going to be with the rest of society, even if they sort of feel that way or they have people that felt that way. It's taboo. Now with that, it's gone. There is no taboo anymore. And those young people can look at that and go, I can choose to do this if I want now
Yeah,
because
the
it's okay.
entitlement. It's like
Yeah.
somebody tore up the social contract. It's like before people sort of agreed that there was this social contract about how to treat other people in society. And somebody just took it and ripped it up and said, no, no, man, you can be an asshole. You can be a racist. You can be a bigot. You can be a homophobe. Everything is okay now. Not only is it okay, it's encouraged. And the reason that it's encouraged is so that this very small group of billionaires can benefit.
Yeah. They're literally blowing up the country
Yeah.
to make money and profit off of it. I think that's the craziest part about it all is like all of these things that are happening, like some of them, I bet you they probably don't even care 100%. It's just smoke and mirrors so I can keep taking all the money that I need
Yeah.
and we can do all of these things. I'm going to keep messing around with tariffs so the stock market goes up and down and up and down. And then people that I know can make billions off of it. Hey,
Or
guess
I can
what?
have a 19-year-old who's now worth $150 million, according to Forbes this morning.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just out of how?
Just
How did
saying.
that work out?
Look, when you said that you think it's worse, I agree that it's worse if you know that it's horrible to do this stuff to people and that you support it and you enable it. I agree with you that that makes up for a horrible person. The reason I said I hope that they realize that it's horrible is that that's the only chance we have of diminishing support for them, because the people who don't know that it's horrible, the people who have just drank the Kool-Aid and honestly believe that they're the heroes, we have absolutely no shot of them stopping. But we have a tiny speck of hope if somebody knows that it's horrible. Is it
Yeah.
likely? No. Is it possible? I'll hang on to possible even if I can't get likely, because the alternative is too dark, man.
Yeah. I think it goes back to a lot of things where like society looks at people like authentic people, right? As much as you want to hate the far left or hate the far right or whatever it is, those people are the most authentic people. They are who they are. That's what they believe. Whether we agree with what they believe or not, it doesn't matter. They're authentic. They believe what they believe. And we're not going to expect anything different from them. It's the other group of people that aren't authentic, that are playing games, that are saying one thing to the public and then saying another thing at home. Those are the people that I think are the most worrisome people because they have
You don't know where
no
they are.
value and they're not authentic people. I like authentic people. Like
I like
I
authentic
have a
people too.
respect. I have a respect for authentic people. Be
Yeah.
who you want to be. We can even have great arguments over what you believe and what I believe. And but I'll still
But don't
respect
be
them.
it about it.
Authentic. They are authentic people. They are who they are. But those other pieces of garbage that are not authentic, those people that sit there and pump one thing but believe another, but the stuff that they're pumping is dangerous, absolutely dangerous. They are the worst type of people.
They are. And when you say everybody on the extreme left and the extreme right are authentic, I'm going to disagree with you just slightly and say that the believers are 100% authentic. That's what they believe. But I also believe that there are people who are feeding them stuff that they know isn't true in order to get support from them to
Oh, yeah.
believe that. So I don't believe that 100% of people who are there. I think that there are a small amount of agitators, and then I think that there are the believers, but I agree with you that the believers are more authentic than the BSers. I'll talk to anybody, even you can disagree with me as much as you want. As long as you're honest about it, I'll respect you more than somebody who's BSing me.
Yeah.
If you
I
can't
feel the
tell from
exact
the
same way.
theme of my videos.
And that's really what I'm getting at is at the end of the day, it's okay to believe what you want to believe. I'm not here trying to change somebody's belief. I'm not gonna agree with you sometimes, but I'm not
I'm
gonna
going to
try and
argue, though, that
change
some
them.
beliefs are harmful to other communities.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I
So
think there's
if you believe, I will respect that you believe what you believe, but I am going to keep trying to illustrate to you how what you believe is harmful to other people in the hopes that you don't want to harm other people.
yeah, I think obviously, yes, there are certain lines, right? But what I'm sort of getting at is more of it's that those people that believe in certain things, and I'm not talking about hate. I'm not talking about like people that believe in hate and destruction. And I'm talking about just the right versus left beliefs in the world. And,
Here's another
I
thing
just
though.
think that we need more authentic people out there, because the
So,
people that are feeding the lies,
yeah.
those are the ones that are not authentic. And we know
Okay. So I'm going to go with one lie and how it doesn't seem like it's harmful to people. The flat earther thing. The flat earther thing feels like, well, you have a different view on the world than I do. You're never going to meet a flat earther that isn't transphobic. There's no way that that isn't connected. There's no way that they don't get people to believe that it's flat in order to steer them into a white supremacy pipeline. So that's my
really.
only challenge of the it's okay to believe something different. That's why I keep trying with the I don't try to convince people that the world is round. I convince them that the stuff that they say about trans people is harmful to the trans community. And then I try to explain how. Honestly, I've never met anybody who isn't, who believes in the flat earth.
That's it. And that, honestly, I find that super interesting. Like, I mean, I've never researched flat earthers, and and here's the interesting part is the whole premise of the earth being flat. I still laugh because I go, well, maybe it is. I don't even know. Like, how do I know
Wrong.
personally what it? No, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not
I
like,
know, I know, I know.
I'm
Okay.
gonna, if I had to choose a side, I'm gonna pick the fact that the earth is round. But I still sit there and I still wonder, like, because how do I know 100%? How do I know 100%? I have a belief. I believe that the earth is round, but I've never heard anything about flat earthers being transphobic. And
Now, there,
like, that's,
I'm not saying that from a researcher thing. I'm saying that every single person that I have talked to that believes that the earth is, and you know what, to say that they're transphobic isn't fair. I take that back. They all use transphobic language. So I
uh,
don't know if they're actively transphobic or if they're unaware that the language that they use hurts the trans community. That's probably better. Sorry, correct
yeah,
myself.
I just find it a crazy leap with someone who's got a belief of being flat earth, and you're like, well,
That's why I
your
brought it up.
your flat earth belief is dangerous because now you're transphobic. And I'm like, I don't
Because
see the correlation. I don't
they
see the
all funnel
correlation. I am
into the
sorry.
white supremacy pipeline.
What, from believing in
Yes.
flat earth is,
Yes. Yes.
well, I learned
Trust me.
something new today.
Listen, we're
I'm
almost
gonna
out
have
of
to
time
look it up
today,
because that's
but
just
we are picking
craziness.
that up again. I'm gonna be bringing it up all the time now. I'm gonna keep giving you examples too.
I
Yeah.
Well,
don't know
now
a
I
lot
get,
about flat earthers either. I just know about one that,
Every single one I know. Every single one I know.
yeah,
yeah.
Personally and online.
the one that I know says that there's unicorns beyond that ice wall and magicians and like all kinds of cool stuff. Just weird.
Aren't the White Walkers past the ice wall?
I
White
heard winter's coming. I heard winter's
Winter's
coming.
coming.
Now what? Hey, honestly, I'm
And you
gonna
know
have to look
what?
into it because I find it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get behind it right now because I just think flat
You don't
earthers
have
that
enough
believe in
information. I'm
flat
gonna
earth.
bring you more. I'm gonna bring you more.
You'll have to,
It's
because the
it's not
correlation that you're drawing
specifically
between the two is
yeah.
just,
So Rob, it's not specifically just flat earth. It's a lot of the conspiracy theories. A lot of the conspiracy theories funnel into the white supremacy pipeline. That's what you if you want to look into this, that's what you want to start with. White supremacy pipeline. Pipeline, not like a Pierre Poilievre pipeline, a white supremacy
I'm
pipeline.
always afraid to search these things on my phone. I
I
don't know what I'm
know.
gonna start getting. Like,
And you
I
know what? We
oh,
have to
I'm gonna be on
we
some
did
list somewhere because of my search history. Like, what?
let's just touch quickly on the Epstein thing because this is where we're at, and then we will wrap it up because it's been almost an hour. But holy smokes, it goes fast. But the latest in the Epstein news is number one, Mike Johnson, who watches everything like this. He hides his lips. Do you ever notice that? And I think it's because he knows
Yeah.
it's horrible. Anyway, he still refuses to swear in the woman in Arizona who won her election 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Still refuses because she's the 218th vote. However, I believe that we might get close to the Epstein files considering Prince Andrew had to give up his title today. Today, just before we started with the show, it's all over the news that Prince Andrew gave up his royal title. He is no longer a duke after a conversation with the king. And it's after yesterday in the UK news, an email between him and Epstein had surfaced after in 2019, Prince Andrew, actually, I don't have to call him Prince Andrew anymore. Andrew said, no, I stopped being friends with Epstein. And this email indicates that wasn't the case, because they said, yeah, we're in this together. Can't wait to play again. And now he's not a royal anymore. Actually, I think I probably still have to call him Prince, but he's not a duke.
Here's the interesting part is, who gives a crap? Why is he not in jail? I don't think, oh, I'm no longer going to have my child. Screw you. Put him in jail. Put him
And the
in
other
jail.
19 guys.
Not a nice
And the other
jail.
19 guys.
Yeah.
There are
Put
20
him in a
guys in the
crap
fence.
jail somewhere that, like in a
Yeah.
third world country. That's where he needs to be. No, I'm not
Or
kidding. I mean,
something. The whole,
who
you're
does this
not a
guy
duke
think he
anymore.
is? Oh, no, I'm not a duke anymore amid this controversy. Screw you. Go to jail.
It's not
Go
a
to jail.
controversy. It's a crime. There's a difference.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's a controversy to him,
It's an
but it's a
alleged
crime
crime.
to the
I
rest
don't
of
want
the
to
world.
get sued. It's an alleged crime. I don't want to get
An
Paulie to get sued
alleged
either.
crime
But
that needs to be
are
investigated and needs to be tried.
exactly.
He needs to be held
Every single
accountable.
person on that list, because they've talked about the occupations of 20 men that came to light from taking information from the actual survivors. They talked about their occupations. They said a prince. I'm not saying who that is, but I'm saying a guy, just saying. So hopefully that this is an indication that we're closer to the files. I think that these guys are just like throwing themselves on this grenade one after another and trying to convince the people that there's nothing to see there. And the more that they try to convince nothing to see, the more the people want to see it, rightfully so, especially since the victims have come forward and said they're going to make their own list, especially since they've given evidence against 20 people who are in the files that the FBI wants to pretend, well, there's no evidence, just Jeff. Come on.
Yeah. I think there was a judge that ruled on, or there's something that was in the courts for the representative from Arizona to get her sworn in, and basically to say what it's unconstitutional to have not done it or something.
That happened yesterday.
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
The Attorney General for the state of Arizona tweeted out, my people are downstairs right now filing what we need to file to get this going, because right now we have 813,000 Arizonans that are without representation. They did their democratic duty and voted, and they have an elected representative, but they're not represented right now because he won't swear her in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you miss when politics was boring?
Oh man, maybe, because I think the fact that it's not boring right now is still frustrating, because it's just such a gong show. It's just so beyond. You have a
It's like
government.
we're in a movie.
Well,
It feels
here's
like
the
we're in
thing.
a movie.
Well,
It doesn't
think
feel like
about
real
it.
life.
You've got the government. You got the government that basically dissolved and basically shut down the government. And so they shut themselves down. So now they're not working, but they're still getting paid. The government, like the actual, representatives, they're still getting paid. But the rest of the government workers across the United States who had no say in this shutdown whatsoever are now not getting paid. So they're not getting paid. Yeah, but the people that made the decision, they're still getting paid.
Yeah.
How does that make sense? It should be the reverse. If you made the decision to dissolve your government, that's fine. Don't take a paycheck, because you're not going to work anymore. Because they're actually literally not going to work right now, and they're getting paid. But the people that are still having to go to work because like air traffic control, they have to go to work, and they're not getting paid.
Two things about that. First of all, the majority of the federal workers aren't part of politics. Just because they work for the federal government and you determine who that is through politics doesn't mean the people who are doing the jobs are politically affiliated. The people who are not, to your point, the people who are not part of the political decision that went into this are the ones that get hurt. And the second point is that Trump announced today that there is going to be some people who are still getting paid. ICE will still be getting paid.
The Gestapo. The Gestapo will still get
paid, while the people who process your taxes and stuff don't.
And make sure your planes land safely.
Yes. Yeah. Who needs that? Who needs that guy to stay happy? Did you hear that Laura Trump suggested herself as an alternative to Bad Bunny for the
Okay, guys. Okay.
Show?
I'll do it.
Have you seen her sing?
I'll do the show.
Rob, have you seen her sing?
No, I don't want to.
Rob, go watch her sing. Go watch her sing and tell me anybody who's tuning into that instead of Bad Bunny. I don't even know any Bad Bunny songs, and I'm telling you that they're not.
I guarantee you, though, there will still be people that just tune in and maybe turn the
Because,
volume
yeah,
down. Like they'll just put the TV on and then turn the volume down and be like,
yeah.
all right, let's just move on.
All right, that's it. We'll wrap it up for today. Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube. That's where you can find any past shows. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. Make sure you tell your friends and family to as well. Rob, do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm good. That's exciting.
It is exciting. So much fun.
Bye, everybody.
See you
Thanks for all
Tuesday.
the new followers and the gifts and the sharing. Bye.